We're so excited to share our 4-part framework for every single business we have ever done that helps us get to success. So each video will have a different part. Make sure you stay tuned and watch them all.
Part 2 is all about taking that vision and the goals and the setup that you created to now make the strategy and the planning. So we're going to physically create the business plan. And processes is what is at the core of this. So you have your core processes. Without a plan, you're just winging it, and so is your team. All that payroll, everyone is just winging it with your hard-earned business revenue. And if it's just you, maybe you don't have a team yet, it's your own hard-earned money, which I feel like is worse, that you can't seem to get a control over or get consistent repeated results with. Systems equals consistency, and consistency equals scalability and stability. So the difference between those who struggle and those who thrive is that those who struggle tend to focus on the goals, and those who win and thrive focus on systems. They understand that they need repeatable systems and they need to stay consistent so that they can get to where they want to go. When there is a step-by-step plan on how to achieve your goals, then everyone knows exactly what position they need to play. You can hire for those positions and gain real momentum with fewer people. So some of the main business categories that I found in insurance and in agency, the core processes fall into the categories of marketing, sales, team, client service, and administrative. And we're going to go over some of those in a little bit more detail. But really, your core processes are a recipe. You have a new cook in the kitchen and you tell them they need to make the chicken special, you can give them the recipe and they can get started without too much hand-holding. Now, I do want to take a moment to note that I'm not here to tell you you need to create intricate process manuals of everything you do. Every breath you take in and out does not need to be documented. I am talking about capturing the way things must be done so that you can ensure that you're able to fulfill the vision that you want, what time basis that needs to happen, and how you can measure that those things are working effectively. It's important that you keep it as simple as possible because simple scales and fancy fails. If it's complicated, then it's going to be complicated to delegate, and then it's going to be complicated for your team to implement. And sometimes just because something may feel like it's not easy, we think that it needs to be complicated, but that's not true. Even building a business is fairly simple. I'm literally laying it all out here for you, but that doesn't mean that it's easy, right? We all know that there's things that we can struggle with for sure, but you need to ensure that your processes and systems are clear and simple as possible. So this way we can focus on your core processes, which are going to be encompassed of your income producing activities or your income protecting activities. You probably have never heard somebody talk about income protection activities, but because we're in the residual business, we also not only need to produce new income, we need to protect the income we've already produced. And so your IPAs, these processes, will directly result in the revenue that will come when you're doing the things that need to be done. So once you have your core process laid out and you can communicate them to your team or even for yourself as a way for you to stay connected to what needs to be achieved and what needs to happen in the way that it needs to happen, there should never be as much room for error, questions, or assumptions about what needs to get done and how. It helps eliminate the knocks on the doors, the random texts, the emails, the calls, and all the questions that you feel like you've answered a million times, and your team then just starts to get stuff done. So let's dive into some of these core processes. Marketing, right? We want to talk about marketing, and we talked about a little bit when we were talking about branding, but marketing is the vehicle in which you promote your brand. Okay, so we have the brand, which is the message, is the promise. It's what we represent, what we stand for. And then we have the marketing, which is the vehicle that's going to take that brand and move it out into the world. The problem is that a lot of people focus on marketing and a lot of people spend a lot of money on exposure with no real message, or at least not one that seems to be clear or cut through the noise to hit that ideal person they're trying to target right between the eyes so that they want to do business with you. So if you use your ideal client's persona, trying to figure out who that ideal client is and who are they, where do they hang out, what are they about, what's important to them, all of that, and the brand message that you really want to put out there, you can have more effective messaging in your marketing. And this is why I mentioned that they're not the same thing. The branding is the first and most important thing you have to have in your business and you have to work on in your business first. And I'm not talking about your logo or the colors or, your picture or all of that stuff. I am talking about the actual message, the story of your brand, your promise with your brand. What are your core values? What do you stand for? How do you show up? That's what I'm talking about when it comes to the brand. Who do you want to be and who do you want to be known for and who is it for? When you know your brand, then your marketing efforts are going to be so much better. You're going to get a much higher return on your investment. If you don't know your brand and it isn't clear, your marketing efforts are going to fall short. All right, next is going to be your team. When it comes to your team, the goal is to get everybody buying into the vision and the goals and the things that you want to achieve as a business. All in one unit, rowing in your business boat at the same time together, knowing exactly where they need to go and getting there faster. Otherwise, imagine what happens when no one knows where they're going. Each person on the boat's rowing slower or faster, forward or backwards, and you just end up in circles, frustrated, no results, going into debt, having to fire people, turnover, like all the things, right? So if everybody is on this vehicle boat and they all know where the North Star is, which is your vision and your goals, and they all know how they need to be rowing and which way and how fast, you can get there faster. Otherwise, it's just a chaotic mess. And this is why all of this is structured the way it's structured. It looks like having the right people, doing the right things in the right amount of time and the right amount of quantity. Some of you don't have a team yet or haven't even thought about it, but in order for you to really get scaled and really get massive results, you need people. Some people think that 1 + 1 = 2, but in the business world, 1 + 1 = 11, because you're 10 times stronger with just one person helping you chip away at the things that you want to achieve. And you get freed up to do the CEO things that will help you grow faster and stronger. And then you begin adding another team member, and you're able to scale and grow your team to do things that you never even thought you could do, right? Even the goals and visions that you have, when you can start working on that, you will suddenly surpass those so quick, and you're going to have to come up with new goals and a new vision at that time. So let's talk about sales. Many people believe that sales is an innate skill, like you're born with it, right? Well, some people are just better at being social, and some people are better at just building rapport naturally. However, sales can be learned. And in most cases, I've hired some of the best salespeople I've ever met, and they were the worst salespeople in insurance, or at least within my business. Let me know if that's ever happened to you. In our industry, we have to work smarter on selling solutions than forcing people to take action with no value and just ramming high follow-up down their throat. So how did we sell as much as we sold with 2 salespeople without purchasing leads? This is what we do in our business, in our agency. We do 2 things that we focus on. The first one is relationship sales, and the second one is called solution sales. So relationship sales is when you work on building relationships and providing value before you ever ask for the sale in return. And this creates a super fan base that will talk about you, refer you, do business with you, and hopefully never leave you. They're very loyal because relationships are going to build scalability. You never know who that one person is that you worked with and how many people they know, right? You don't know that ripple effect of just doing business and building a relationship with just one person. It's really important for you to think about what relationships you're building. If you think of it this way, you have never earned $1 from someone that you haven't had a relationship with to begin with. So you've never earned $1 in your business that wasn't started from a relationship. The second way that we focus on sales is solution sales. And I really think that our industry needs to push towards this way more than they are just doing follow-up and just selling on price. Solution sales is about finding the problem that a person has and showing them how you can help them solve that problem and how you are the best solution for them. So it comes in 3 parts. When you want to do solution sales, you have 3 parts. The first part is awareness. You need to bring awareness to the problem. Some people might know they're suffering from this problem. Some people might not know. It might look like a missing coverage, like you don't have this. Now you know you have this problem. The second piece is going to be the solution that can happen, how it can possibly be solved, and what would that look like. So the first one was awareness, the problem, which actually is a pain point. The second piece is the solution of the problem, which would be the pleasure point. And the third piece of that is going to be the offer or your recommended product. If you paid attention in the beginning, we had a slide that said, have you ever said this? Do you ever feel this? What am I doing there? I'm bringing pain points to awareness. The next slide said, what if you could have all these other things? I said, hey, here's some pleasure points. Here's some solutions that can happen. And then there would be an offer somewhere, but there isn't. It's just training you how to do this. Okay. All 3 of these, when they work together really well, is how you can bring value that's going to beat price and people are going to choose you over the competition. It's also a different type of experience and a different type of sale than what they're probably experiencing right now. So both of these types of sales in business right now in our agency is being done and bringing in business with less effort, bringing in highly valued clients that are loyal and help us build our business and our brand and our representation of it for the long run. When people trust you, when they believe the product will solve the problem the way they feel like they want it solved and have the access to the money to get started, they have what they need to make a buying decision. And that's what makes the conversion and the sales so much quicker. So when somebody makes a buying decision, you want to reinforce that decision the best you can. They've paid you, you want to kind of prevent maybe buyer's remorse or different things like that. Give them a huge hit of dopamine to reaffirm their purchase. And that can look like things like sending a personal video, handwritten cards, swag boxes, personalized onboarding process, timely communication within the expectations that you have placed in your processes. When you reward people for buying, they respond by sticking around and referring you to more people. So let's take a step back. With sales, we need to start with breaking down our goals. We decided, 10, 5, 1, 90 days and working backwards. And if we know we want to hit certain figures, then we can plan for it and figure out what it's going to take. It's going to take an X amount of leads, an X amount of quotes, an X amount of closed business per sale, and so on. And then you can do the math to see what it's going to take to get there in regards to production. However, you're going to piece that back to the fact that our marketing efforts needs to bring in the certain amount of qualified leads. And then your team needs to provide that many people with quotes and close that many policies, whether it's premium policies, etc. This is when we break down those 90 days into the weeks, into days, and sometimes even by the hours if needed. If you are not hitting your goals, you need to know what you got to sell by 12 p.m. to make sure you hit your daily goal, to then make sure you're hitting your weekly goal, to then make sure you're hitting your monthly goal, so on. The only way for you to know how many leads, quotes, closed business, all that stuff you're going to need, we're going to talk about them a little bit and I will circle it back, but you've got to be able to track what you're doing. So we'll get back to that. The next piece is service for your core processes and the processes that you need to create in your strategy and planning. Remember that brand promise that I was talking about, the brand that we were building? Well, now it's time to deliver. You sold, you told them the solution you were going to solve for them, and having your goals and core values in how you want that client experience to go. What was the solution that you sold them? Thinking of that client experience, the journey that they have with your business, creating that experience for every client every time comes with processes and consistency. Imagine going to get a haircut in a new salon or with a new hairdresser. The first time you go there, you're probably like sweating bullets because you have no idea how the experience is going to go. Are they going to chop off my hair? How is this all going to go? But you have the best experience possible and the experience totally lives up to the hype. And so you refer your friend. And your friend goes there and has a completely different experience. Or what if you go there again because you loved the experience and it's completely different the second time? That starts to deteriorate your brand. That starts to show people that what you promised and what you sold them is not true. That's why we say creating that experience for every client every time comes with processes and consistency. You must keep it consistent through your client's journey and experience with the processes, no matter who they are that's selling to them, if it's people on your team, or how tired you might be, or whatever the case is, you have a process in place, and that's what you need to stay consistent in. So the last piece of this is personal and business development. And the deal with this is that if you don't make a plan for it, or if you don't decide that you want to develop yourself personally and within your business, you're not going to do it. Or you're just going to buy and do random things that don't really align with the vision and where you want your business to go. So I'm just quickly letting you know that you've got to also have a plan in your strategy and planning and in your business plan for you to develop yourself personally and within your business.